You're listening to the AZREIA Show. If you're looking for quality real estate investing information that you can trust, you've found it. Stay tuned and join the tens of thousands of members that have already benefited from AZREIA, your home for education, market information, support, and networking opportunities that will advance your real estate investing career.
Welcome, everybody, to the AZREIA Show. Mike Del Prete, Executive Director. We have a special guest today that we will be interviewing that has never been interviewed before. Before that, though, also that's fitting is this is the first episode that we're doing in our newly designed podcast. So you notice the background's going to be a little different. So shout out to Molly and Ben for putting all the hard work in over the summer break. But with all that being said, special interview, we have Marcus Maloney, host of the AZREIA Show. We've been doing for 3 years strong, over 200 episodes. And we never got to know Marcus a little bit personally. So obviously you know him from the meetings, you know him from the show. You probably know him very well, but why not? Let's dig a little deeper. What's the, trying to give a good,
trying to follow you.
Without further ado, no, like getting to know you better, obviously, outside of just interviewing everybody else, right? Or teaching everybody else. So we're going to turn the tables a little bit today. Buckle your seatbelts, turn the volume up, and let's go.
All right.
Like that?
Thank you, Mike. Great intro.
So yeah, Marcus usually does the intro, so I'm under a lot of pressure at the same time. So
yeah, guys, I'm watching him see how he flows with the intro.
Yep.
But good job, Mike.
Thank you. So if you really want to just take it back, okay. So how did this all come about? I remember, which I've shared before, is I met Marcus probably early 2011s, 10s, 13s ish, somewhere around there. I had a property under contract. I was wholesaling. Marcus was newer to Phoenix and newer to wholesaling, and we had a mutual friend he was working with who brought Marcus along, and we met each other at that property on Central Third Ave and Camelback.
Third Ave and Camelback.
And we hit it off ever since then. I remember we would meet up and we talked about doing a podcast years ago.
Yeah, dude, I remember we was at Starbucks right there, not too far from your house.
Probably. We did
Glendale and what's that, 17?
No, don't give my address. No, I'm
not getting your address.
Yeah, we were there, and I also remember I came down to you down at the not Desert Ridge.
I don't remember
the
that,
marketplace.
Oh yeah. Okay, you did meet me at the marketplace.
See, we share transportation times. So, but then we talked about a podcast. Then I probably dropped the ball. You started your own podcast, which went very well, and which we probably got to catch up on what happened with that. And then anyways, AZREIA came into the picture with Alan Langston. We started the podcast here for the original AZREIA owner, and we hit it off, kept that going. Anyways, so let's just kind of go from there. But let's just go into your origin story.
Okay.
Unless you're about to say something.
No. Just going into my origin story. I moved here to the Valley in 2011. So when I first got here, Mike, you were one of the first investors that I really got a chance to meet, right? Coming from Chicago, we had a nonprofit back at home where we worked with at-risk youth, and we were doing housing for at-risk youth. And during that time, I really wanted to get more into real estate because I was working with contractors, doing the renovations on the properties and everything like that to house some of the at-risk youth, some of the moms, pregnant teens, girls, things like that. And I said, you know what, I just really want to learn more about real estate. Well, that's when Phoenix was coming out of the recovery. And I was like, this is the best time to learn real estate coming out of the crash. And the best place to go is Phoenix, not knowing that my wife had family here. She had a cousin. We had came, visited. In the winter, we left Chicago. It was like, no joke, it was like 30 below with the wind chill. And we came here in February for our anniversary, and it was like 75, right? I was like, okay, mental checkpoint, nice weather, everything like that. Went back home, continued to work. Then we came out like a couple of years later, around the same time, November It was in the winter.
Mhm.
Same thing. It's cold. Came here. It was like 80. I was like, okay, I can kind of get with this, right? When I left Chicago, I was promised a job here, and that job didn't pan out after moving family across country. So I was like, well, I came here to learn real estate. And one of the things that I always say is God always have a purpose for all of us, and my purpose was always real estate. So coming here, trying to get a job in something unrelated to real estate just wasn't a part of my purpose. So we were able to sustain ourselves. My wife was working.
Mhm.
I still had the rentals back home. Now was cash flowing. So we lived off of that. And during that time, I just really consumed myself into real estate. And I was going down to the courthouse steps, didn't know anybody, was just like, let me learn what's going on here in the Phoenix market. And lo and behold, I just started bumping into some real estate investors at different places. I got involved with AZREIA because I really don't even know, but there was an event, and actually Stuart Gethner was putting it on.
Mhm.
It was like learning how to do real estate or whatever, and it was like $200. At the time, $200 was a lot,
Yeah.
for me. And I was like, man, I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend this money. And my wife was like, this is the reason why you came here. Then go, and put up the money and met Stuart. Really just kind of start making my way through the real estate arena here in Phoenix. So that's
real quick, man. That little piece right there, when your wife says, just go, what is it about us men? Right? Like, think about it. I did, that happens all that. There's like a million things I could probably bring up in my life like that. So like, what's the importance of having your wife on your team?
Well, it's that extra bolt of confidence, right? Because I knew it was something that I should have did, but second guessing myself, it's like, now, you're going to need this money for groceries. You're going to need this money for something. And when she said go, it was that extra bolt of confidence, like, okay, I could do this. I can get out here and I can do this, So yeah, when you starting out, or if you're in real estate, it's always trying to have that additional support by having that spouse, really understand what you're doing.
God holds you down, your wife holds you up.
That's it, man. That's it. I like that. I like
that. All right. So no, I just wanted, because going back to the launch pad and everything we do, we always say your spouse doesn't have to be in the business, but know at least what you're doing to support you or understand the decisions you're making in this business. So obviously, prime example right there. So cool.
Yeah. So, and then, I was still traveling back and forth between Illinois and Phoenix, because we had the family business back there. So I was like, well, if I'm not working here, right, and I'm really kind of just hustling here, I would go back home and help with some stuff there, because I was still, quasi or pseudo on payroll, because I was doing a lot of things remote. This is way before COVID. So I was utilizing Skype. So
oh, that's right.
Yeah, telling my age, this is before Zoom. We were utilizing Skype a lot. But then I ran into this one gentleman, right? And I was doing some direct mail. And when I mean doing direct mail, it was like in home, grassroots, write out handwritten letters and just send them out. And I was doing that. Got some calls, got a property under contract. Guys, I didn't know what under contract was. I didn't know what a title company, where to go to a title company. I was just calling title companies and did everything wrong. Every single thing I did wrong. Put the property under contract for $175,000. The ARV was $175,000,
Yep.
And I'm shopping this deal and everything like that. And they just kind of really pulled me in, and they saw my hustle because I posted the property on Craigslist, and they were scraping Craigslist for leads. And they just called me on it. It was like, dude, I just want to let you know this is not a deal, but I can help you, you know, find deals. This is the only thing I want you to do. So it was basically they was introducing me to bird dogging.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how
What's bird dogging?
So bird dogging is basically where you're going out, you have a real estate investor on the back end that's looking for deals, and you're going out helping them find those deals. So you're that scout, you know, that's making those phone calls, that's walking properties, that's knocking on doors, things like that. And once you find something, you bring it back to that investor and say, hey, look, kind of found this. I really don't know what it is, but help me vet it, right? And then they'll walk you through the process.
Yeah, great way to, you know, earn while you learn, get some experience, get paid. So, all right. So they took you under their wing, or what happened?
Yeah, they took me under their wings, and they said just find deals, right? Just try and find deals. And one of the things that I did was, right, that's when I was going down to the courthouse steps and everything like that. And then I ran into this realtor. And for the life of me, I can't even remember how I met him. And he was a young guy. He was hustling. And he was like, yeah, you know, he was taking me to these different properties. Didn't have no pre-qualification letter. Didn't have any of that. You know, I was like, look, I'm kind of doing something for this real estate investor, and we just trying to find some deals. You know, can you walk me through some properties that I send you? And we started doing that. And then the real estate investor, he gave me that buy box with the numbers, everything like that. He was like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. If you find something similar, let me know. We'll write up the contract. I'll give you the numbers to write the contract up for. Had a realtor to write up the contract. We'll get it under contract, and we'll try and wholesale it out. So I sat for hours and hours and hours on and going through listings, right? Because that realtor would send me all of the listings in a certain buy box, and I'm just going through, and I'm like, okay, on this one, let's offer this. Let's offer this. So we were just making tons of offers every day. I was probably making 30 offers every day, you know, and that agent was writing up all of those contracts. It's a lot of work, right? A lot of work. So that's why I tell people, you know, getting started, try and find that realtor that's willing to hustle, that's young and aggressive also. So he knew that I was trying to hustle, trying to get up under my feet. He was trying to get up under his feet. So he didn't mind writing out the contracts, right? And then one hit, right? And this was on the west side. Went out there, walked the property, was able to wholesale that one with the investor. Then we did another one, and then it was like it just started snowballing, and that's how I got started, man. That's how I got started, and I met you by walking through one of the properties, you know, with that investor.
So, what are some of the key learning lessons of that first beginning transition?
Don't let what you don't know stop you, right? And don't let who you don't know stop you. You just have to put the information out there. And like I said, I don't really even remember how I found that realtor, but me and him, we just started working together, right? He knew I didn't know much about real estate, and he was a young agent trying to get started. And we just worked through the nuances together, right? One of the big mistakes we did was we put a property under contract, and the investor thought that I was, during the inspection period, that I was going to cancel the contract. I thought he was going to cancel the contract. Really, I didn't even know anything about canceling the contract.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, for sure.
So it was a lakefront property in Ahwatukee. You know, at the time, this is 2012. It was like $500,000. You know, so that was like top of the market, just exquisite. And we lost $5,000.
Wow.
You know, and
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, and I had to pay that money back.
How'd you pay it back?
I kept hustling, and the next deal, instead of me getting paid out, that just went to that investor.
Hey,
you know,
nothing beats experience.
Yeah,
right. Just being, you know, I think people get too wrapped up in their own mind and get frozen and not take action. But you obviously took action and it outpaced the inaction result. You know,
I had no choice, you know, and even with that investor, when we lost that $5,000, I told him, you know, he was like, man, it's a part of the game, you know, and everything like that. I said, well, I don't want to get into the habit of losing money. So I want to make sure on the next deal, you take that $5,000 out of my profit. That way I can feel the pain that you feel right now.
Yeah. Well, that in integrity,
Yeah,
like what we stand on here at AZREIA, you just did the right thing, and it was a great learning lesson. Have you lost $5,000 earnest?
Nope.
Since then?
Never lost $100 earnest money since then.
So okay, so what are some ways to protect ourselves around earnest deposit then?
You know, once you get the property under contract, right, the main thing is speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you get out there, look at the property, get your buyers to look at the property. And we're talking about wholesaling at the time. This is, you know, when we first started. So it was just speed, get out there, let the contractors, not the contractors, but the buyers see it. And if it's not a deal, you got to have that tough conversation with that seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, you know what? I promised you that I can get this done at this price. Unfortunately, I was a little bit too bullish, too aggressive. And unfortunately, I'm not able to do it. So two things need to happen. I either need to cancel the agreement, me and you mutually cancel the agreement, or if you can allow me, you know, 5 more days, 7 more days to extend, you know, our earnest money, then I think that I can find a buyer for it.
There you go. So that's in the wholesale world. So what kind of happened once you I'm assuming obviously you broke away from them at some point, and that's natural, right? And when you're working with a mentor of some level, they know you're going to fly away, right? You're going to get some deals on your belt. You're going to figure out the business out. It's part of the process. So what was like your next step?
So, I mean, first, I preface that by letting them know, you know, hey, I'm a natural born entrepreneur. I never worked for anyone else. If I wanted to work for somebody, I might as well just stayed at home and continue to work for the family business, right? If I'm going to work for somebody, I'm going to work for myself. So I preface that conversation with them, letting them know, hey, this is temporary. I'm really just I want to learn while I earn, let you make some money, I make some money, and I learn the process, right? After that, you know, I was just, every bit of money that I made, I just held on to it because I knew I was going to need money for marketing, you know? So I just held on to that money. And when I felt that I had a safety blanket to get out there and jump out there on my own, then that's what I did.
You just continue wholesaling or flips?
Yep, continue wholesaling, you know, until I because I needed active income at the time because I wasn't working. And the rentals that I had back in Illinois, yeah, they were sustaining me, but at the time it just wasn't quite enough.
So what about, so you mainly wholesaled here?
Right.
Okay, buy and sell. And what one point, because you already had rentals in Chicago, so is there a point that you made a decision to start? Did you ever stop buying rentals, or did you take a break from Chicago and eventually go back? What was that?
So I did. I stopped buying rentals there, right, because I wanted to get firm footing here. And then after I started making a lot of active income here, then I would deploy that capital back in Illinois and start buying rentals again there because the cash flow was a lot greater. So that was basically my evolution. Was had a handful of rentals before I moved here to learn real estate a lot more and to build up that network. Because I'm gonna be honest, Phoenix, what I learned here in the Valley, I don't believe I would have been able to learn anywhere else.
Why so?
Because Phoenix, there was a lot more traction here. It was a lot more activity with real estate here versus everywhere else. And everywhere else, and when I say everywhere else, I'm thinking of Chicago Metro. Everything was kept close to the vest. Where here, people were freely giving information, right?
It's true.
And I when I came here, I was like, man, people willing to give me a contact for a hard money lender, people willing to give me a contact for, you know, an escrow officer, an escrow agent. And I'm like, this is easy.
I felt the same way from going from Connecticut to here. But then ultimately in our real estate industry here in Arizona, I do feel it's more of an abundance mindset, because like that back east thing is like, that's mine, right?
It's mine.
Yeah.
Go get your own. This is mine, and I'm not gonna give you mine. So that, having that abundance mindset here made it a lot easier for me to really get into real estate and really sharpen my skills here. And sharpen my skills here because there was all of the major players were coming out of Phoenix and still here in Phoenix, right? So in order for me to find a deal or to get a deal, I had to beat out some of the best in order to make that happen. I remember one deal where this was in on the west side once again, and I rolled up, and the lady, the seller, was like, "Yeah, we just had somebody leave here, and they pulled up in a nice flashy car, suit and tie and everything like that." And it was like, we just didn't want to sell to them. They offered more, they were willing to do things for us that you wasn't able to do, but I just felt that I related with you. So I bring that back to, there was a lot of people here, it's the competition was a lot.
That's interesting. That dynamic, right? Just regular people. Like when you're buying in our world, you're buying people that are going through some type of issues. So I've noticed that too, right? The mom and pop, the family business. Did that work for you? Did you ever go try to be Mr. Corporate in this business?
I did for about 2 months.
Okay.
And it just didn't jive with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, man, I'm just a local guy. My whole shtick is I'm a local guy and I'm trying to put my kids through school. That's it.
That's all we're really doing, man. And people, especially those people in those situations, I think they respect that situation. I think that's always worked. So going to, what do you have to say? Because obviously here in Phoenix, we're at a time where sometimes it's hard to pencil a rental, right? So you're making your active income, you're wholesaling, partnering, and doing all this stuff. And now it's like, hey, I got some money. Tell us why you didn't start buying in Phoenix, and two, you went back to Chicago, right? So meaning a lot of people that are here, they're thinking, hey, I got to go out of state, but they're looking at states they never even saw, right? Or know of, or they don't know the lay of the land. So, I guess why not here at that time? And then the next question is the difference between going somewhere you don't know or your own old backyard.
Okay. So the reason why, I did do some fix and flips here in Phoenix, but I never held any rentals here. I went back to Chicago because that was the lay of the land that I really knew. I knew how to navigate. The conversation with the people were a lot easier. I can touch bases with some of the things. So if I'm talking to a seller and I know the area, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? My wife went to school, right up the street, or my family members are right over there. So it made that down home feel, right? So even when I talk to sellers now, I say, yeah, I live in Phoenix. Yeah. Been out here in Arizona for, over a decade. But I'm a Chicago born and bred kid. So where your property is, I know exactly where it is. I know the streets. I know the people there. I come home, every other month pretty much. So I just bought there. I felt a lot more comfortable, and I had a network and was able to build a network there. And the deals just penciled a lot better.
Oh yeah.
This was a while ago, guys. So don't these numbers are from years ago. I bought a property that was a foreclosure that a bank had took over, bought the property for $7,500 and rented that property out for $1,200. And I still hold that property in my portfolio right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Did
you own it free and clear, or did you
own it free and clear?
Yeah, love it.
Own it free and clear. So, and I use that money again to help me here. So if I'm not doing a deal, or if things are tight or we squeezed, I know that I have that passive income that's coming in like clockwork on some of those properties. Now, one of the things that I wish I would have did was refinanced some of the properties that we did have notes on and pulled some cash out and use that cash to further grow the portfolio. I wish I would have did that then.
Got it. But you live and learn, right? Like, hey, owning something free and clear, there's like no, we can go down that road of like the Grant Cardone's, debt, Robert Kiyosaki. It's not wrong, right? Then I got people that are members or like yourself owning free and clear. I have a free and clear condo. Like, I love that. Like, just knowing it's just no debt and it's all not all profit, but you got some expenses. But that's huge. It's a great knowing you could access that at any time. So are you more of a debt or free and clear guy?
Both.
Hybrid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid. And the reason why I'm a hybrid is because I know that there is, return on equity, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I got a property I have $200K worth of equity, but I'm getting $1,200 a month in rent, I can pull some of that money out and buy, 2 or 3 more properties, put debt on them. Yeah, I may not get as much passive income off of that property, but I still increasing my portfolio, which is increasing my equity. Plus, I'm still getting cash flow off of those properties. So that's why I wish I would have refinanced or put debt on some of those properties that I have free and clear.
Got it. So any tips or thoughts for someone that wants to invest out of state?
Yes. Building your team, building your boots on the ground team is very, very important, right? And I'm still in Illinois. I still, continue to expand my boots on the ground, when it comes to agents, when it comes to private lenders, things like that. Like I had a call last week from a huge nationally known, hard money lender looking at a deal. And I was like, hey, deal pencils, I'm getting it for $80,000. It's worth, $330. We're going to put, it's upside down. We're going to put about $110 into it, but we're all in at, $200, $220, $210, and it's worth $330. And I was like, well, yeah, that area we really don't want to lend in. But I went to I called one of the realtors that I know back home. I was like, man, look, I need another lender, that will lend in this area. And I was like, yeah, I got somebody, no problem. Called the guy and he was like, yeah, those numbers work all day.
Nice.
We'll get it done. So sometimes having that local feel, that local touch to the area, outweighs, that national feel. So really, to make a long story short, having that team that's in that local market is key. So whenever I tell somebody, they ask me, they want to go out of state, like, have you ever lived there before? Do you have family members there? Or do you have a network there? Yeah. If you don't have that, then I suggest you not go out of state.
All right. Love it. So, so now you did some out of state investing. I wanted to also touch on, your podcast because, let's talk about obviously marketing yourself.
Yep.
Right. Because I know you had some good stuff happen to you during your podcast. So tell us some learning lessons around putting yourself out there, marketing yourself, starting the podcast, and what it can do for someone listening if they just pick up the phone, pick up the camera, and let the people know about themselves.
Very key. So the reason why I started the podcast in the beginning was there's some things that I didn't know that I need to find answers for, right? But when you talk to the people that's quote unquote educators, they want to charge you for that information, right? So if you say, hey, you know what, classic line, I want to spend an hour and pick your brain. I want to take you to a coffee shop, right? That's what a lot of people say. Either you're going to get a no, or they're going to say, hey, you know what, I don't have time for that. Or you could be one of my students and it's, $5,000, $10,000. So I say, you know what, if I want to pick these people's brain, the best way to do it is to start a podcast. Let them talk about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can slide in questions that I need answers to. So, I talked to some of the largest real estate investors in the country from my home office bedroom, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of the questions that I needed to get answered, I was able to get them answered free of charge,
Mm-hmm.
you know, by starting that podcast. So just really getting out there, meeting people and putting yourself out there will start to draw and attract the resources that you need in your life, right? So by doing that podcast, you know, the mentorship program that I'm in currently,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to speak with CEO of that group, quite a few people in that group, which really helped me elevate my business back in Chicago.
Well, what else? You were on BiggerPockets.
Yeah. I always
All right.
I gloss over that. So,
That's pretty huge, man.
yeah. So guess show number 386. You know,
All
it's
right,
been a
so yeah,
while.
you
So, yes, been on BiggerPockets. One of the only investors that been on the podcast twice, right? That had.
Oh, you're on twice.
Yeah. So it's a split episode, like
Okay.
386A and 386B or 389. So yeah, I got a chance to be a host on BiggerPockets. Not a host, but a guest on BiggerPockets. And it's funny, Mike, you know how that happened, man?
Mm-mm.
Right?
No, that's why we're here.
When I was starting, when I was going through that process here in Phoenix, right, learning how to be a real estate investor, I said, I'm just going to journal everything that I do. I'm going to journal my journey.
Mm-hmm.
So every day I would get on BiggerPockets and I would make a journal. Hey, you know what?
On the forum.
On the forum,
Gotcha.
right. You know, beginning real estate investor, day number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, okay, this is my first day on my real estate investing journey in a new city, new state where I don't know anybody,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would just journal, hey, went down to the courthouse steps, got lost on the way, didn't know the difference between Jefferson and Washington, went down a one-way street, going the wrong way,
Yeah.
you know, and I was just journaling that and journaled all the way until I got up. I can't remember how many deals that I did, but then they asked me, you know, they was like, hey, you know, we're watching what you're doing. For one, can you be I forgot what they call it.
A blogger?
Yeah, it was a
you blog
blogger.
too?
Yeah, I did the blog for them. So I did over 100 blogs, you know, specifically on getting started in real estate and wholesaling for BiggerPockets. And then, they invited me to be a guest on the show. And I believe if I would have continued down that journey, I would have did a lot more for BiggerPockets. But I stopped because I really wanted to work on my craft in real estate, right? I didn't want to get sidetracked and, you know, start doing education and everything like that because they wanted me to, you know, be on the forum for one of the BP cons and everything like that, and kind of shied away from doing that.
Isn't that interesting? Like, we all have that, right? It's like, obviously no regrets, right? But think about that, right? Because I remember seeing all that, right? That's impressive, right? And yeah, you ever think about, like, what if I just kept on working with them?
I think about it, but I think I'm with a better organization right now.
A great answer. Great answer.
No.
No, but yeah, sometimes going into, like, even in real estate, like, there's sometimes, like, there's these waves that happen in real estate, right? Like, and sometimes you hit them. I'm still waiting to hit one. You know what I'm saying? Like, is just grinding out every day. But like, yeah, like, but I think you hit something on that podcast. Like, so did that lead to your own podcast?
No, I was actually doing my own podcast.
Were you doing
before.
your?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Because remember, I wanted to talk to people that I really couldn't get in contact
That's right.
with.
Yeah.
Right. So from that podcast,
podcasts were newer. They weren't like
very
super.
new.
Yeah,
very new. Like it was cutting edge at the time, right? It was BiggerPockets. It was probably 4 or 5 other real estate podcasts, and it was mine. And I got a chance to meet with. I had like one of the assistants of BiggerPockets on it because I had went to BP Con in Orlando, and I was just like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try and get Josh Dorkin on the show. That was the thing. I wanted to get Josh Dorkin on the show, and met one of the assistants who ended up being the CEO after Josh. I was like, man, you know what? I got my own podcast. Come on the podcast,
cool.
You know, and met with them, and then it went to I got Brandon on the show, right?
Really?
And I was like, wow, you know what? This really puts me in a room with people that I normally couldn't get in the room with right? And then I just started having all of these high level conversations, with people. So yeah, in real estate, you hit that wave, you get that momentum, and you just got to keep riding it until it starts, just like any business, right? You hit that peak and then you start to plateau. So
But that's huge for networking. So how about like deal flow wise, money wise, did you notice any benefits besides getting the answers you want and building your network, so to speak?
yeah, absolutely. So deals came through, and then I started getting into some of the education. So I had built up, a following of individuals that would come, and I would speak to them, weekly outside of the podcast. We had just a small group, but it was a group had like 30, 40 people that I was speaking to
Nice.
weekly, that was bringing me deals and stuff like that.
What was the name of your podcast?
We Love Equity Real Estate Show.
Still on YouTube?
It's still on YouTube. It's still on Spotify. It's still on all of the podcast platforms.
Yeah, listen to that, because it's all that information is like, it doesn't get old in a way, right? Just by the numbers or like,
Right.
I think you still can learn a lot. So going back to that, so a little for Marcus and I, we were doing the Deal Finders Club. So we trained people around AZREIA on how to wholesale. What I thought was really cool and how powerful marketing yourself is. The lady that, I forgot her name, but it was within the year, probably a year ago, she was Googling real estate wholesaling. She found Marcus's blog and podcast on BiggerPockets from like 2013 or whatever it was. And she looked you up. She found you here, and she paid to be a part of the private coaching group we did
with DFC
because she read your blogs from 2013, dude. Like, I don't know, in the education world and helping people, like that's amazing to me, man. Like,
and you know what I do? Like, even right now, I haven't done a new podcast in about 2 years, right? Because I've been focusing on the AZREIA Show here, but I still pay that monthly fee to make sure that podcast is still live and active. So if I want to, I can always go back and, start that show back up again. But I just wanted to put my efforts here at AZREIA.
Yeah, but that's kind of like it's like your resume, right? It's like, that's huge to be able to look you up and have like all these episodes and blogs. And so get out there and start.
Yeah, and that's part of my credibility packet too.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to sellers, and they want to know who I am, because again, I'm doing deals in Chicago. I'm not there. I'm not belly to belly with the seller, right? So they're like, well, who's this guy from Arizona that's from Chicago that's calling me on the phone, right? That want to buy my house. So I send them that credibility packet, and it has, like my business LLC information, my license, because I'm a licensed agent, that information, send them to one of the podcast episodes. So it's just a bunch of links in there, so they'll get a chance to know who I am.
Yeah, so if you ever want his credibility packet, I think you share it with everybody.
Yeah, I share it
too. So
that way people can use it.
So raising money with sellers. All right. So I also want to touch on, so September of 2021 is when I officially took over AZREIA with my wife. And obviously we were doing the podcast AZREIA Show before then, but just so you guys know, Marcus has always been behind the scenes, a very important part of AZREIA. So whether it's ideas or events or marketing, or so Marcus had his hand in the cookie jar somewhere in there. So kudos. Thank you, Marcus.
You're welcome, Mike.
For sure, man. And glad you're here. So what else around AZREIA? Like I know we put together, you put together SEVIN. So tell us about SEVIN.
So we have AZREIA 7, and it's not the number 7, but it's SEVIN, Southeast Valley Investor Network. So we do it every other month. We meet at Oso Brewery, downtown Gilbert, just real estate investors from the East Valley. We come together and we talk about what's happening in the East Valley, right? We talk about all of the growth. We talk about, the values of home, days on market, kind of like a mini
market update.
Thank you. A mini market update, but it's specifically for the East Valley. So we go over stats for Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, Apache Junction, and Gold King. So those are the areas that we focus on. And it's really just to bring it home to what's happening just in the East Valley. And we have a good time. You know, we try and make sure people are there at 5:30 so you can get the happy hour menu. And I'm not up talking and preaching. I do that mini market update, and the rest is just really networking, because we want people in the East Valley to be able to network with deals, deal flow, and the resources that they have.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I'm glad Marcus created the group, because, you know, Phoenix Metro is huge.
Yep.
Like, I remember before this happened, we put it together. I just remember I was looking at a property like Tolleson, past Tolleson. It was like 230th Avenue out west, and I'm just like, and it was just shopping centers, cookie cutter houses. It was thriving community, and I'm just like, no one's gonna drive out to Central Phoenix to go network, man. Like, so I really, you know, really realized how big we are, and we need these groups. Not everyone. Gilbert's far from my Central Phoenix office here.
Yep.
So knowing that our members, you know, with busy lives, business, family, kids, all that stuff, knowing that they could still meet like-minded individuals at Oso Brewery in downtown Gilbert.
Yep,
right?
downtown Gilbert.
And still connect and get the education, get the relationships, and do deals, raise money together is huge.
And one of the things that I like about it, and I always hear, is like, you know, the members, they say, man, you know what? I'm so glad that, you know, you and Mike decided to do something here in the East Valley, because we don't like to drive all the way to Scottsdale or drive all the way to Central Phoenix, you know, because during the monthly meeting, and I'm a prime example, I'm near at every monthly meeting. You know, when you're driving home, it's 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night, and you got an hour and 20-minute commute.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yep.
You know, it's rough.
It's rough, but put up with it.
Put up with it. Right. Still, because there's nothing like the main monthly meeting, right? And that's why I'm there every month, because it's important, you know.
So true.
Just the networking and being able to do deals, you know, across the valley, and have those relationships and resources across the valley. It's nothing like it.
So check AZREIA.org/calendar. Marcus does it every other month down in the Southeast Valley. And if you're not in the Southeast Valley, you're more than welcome to come, I'm assuming, Marcus.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to hit you with 3 questions, and we're going to start to wrap it up, unless there's some other tidbits you want to share.
Okay. So before we do that, Mike, you know, kind of going back to the out-of-state investing, you know, right now, we're doing quite a bit.
Okay.
Out of state. We have some deals that we're working on right now. And our whole goal out of state really is to help other people that's in this Phoenix market that's just not seeing deals pencil, and they're looking to deploy some capital in other markets where they can get a great return. So I can't do every deal, you know, out of state in that Chicago Metro, because Chicago Metro is bigger than Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right. And we sharpened our skills to focus on one area, and we've gotten very, very good at that one area, and we're seeing a great return.
So either A, if you don't take the deal down, maybe they could buy it from you, or 2, they could participate.
They could partner with us on a deal.
And what's partnering mean? Is it like a first lien position, or is it equity splitting a deal?
We got first lien positions, you know, if they have the whole entire capital to do the acquisition and the rehab, or, you know, they can have an equity position, you know, if we're keeping it as a rental, you know, or, you know, they can have a second lien position if they're just doing part of the rehab or something like that, if they don't have the whole, you know, capital for the entire project.
Yeah, and I know you're out there, and whether you have a self-directed IRA with Nate over at Directed IRA, or you got 401k money, cash just sitting there, there's 2 parts of every deal. It's knowledge and time, and money and credit. And we train people here at AZREIA to be the knowledge and time, right? You have the team, you have the deals, you have the contractors, you have the attorney, the paperwork, everything in line. And that's what Marcus is, right? And then the money and credits. So the people with the knowledge and time always look for the people with the money and credit. But we do get a lot of people that come to AZREIA that are engineers, doctors, or they retired or inherited money, but they don't want to be the knowledge and time. Right. So you need to find that duo needs to work together. It's a perfect scenario.
And a lot of my private capital partners right now, that's the thing, is they thought that they wanted to get into real estate, right? They said, hey, you know what? I got a high paying job. I'm a high earner. I always hear that I need to put money into real estate. So they figure oh, well, I'll go out and I'll do a flip or I'll buy some rentals. And then they find out it's just not what they're good at. So this is what the real estate investors here in AZREIA are. We're good at being operators, good at, doing the fix and flips or maintaining the rentals, and you just deploy the capital.
There you go. So get with Marcus on that, and I'm going to ask you a question here.
Sure.
So let's see.
It feels funny being on this side of the questions, Mike.
Okay, guys, we're in the studio. The first day in it, Ben would say growing pains. So,
right.
So we have a couple questions we want to ask, but the paper fell off the table, of the wall. So I took a picture of it. Now the picture is curled, so I only see half the question.
You want me to hold up? You want me to? Here,
no,
okay.
we'll be good. But you talked a lot about a lot of this. What would you say to someone newer to investing that's hesitant to get in the business?
You just got to get in. You just have to find out where that entry point is. And I believe that entry point is coming to AZREIA, right? Because you begin to get that courage, that confidence when you're around other real estate investors that's doing what you aspire to do. So now you can touch it. You can feel it. You like, man, this guy right here can do it. And I'm sitting here right next to him. I can do it too. Like we had a podcast not too long ago where, can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was over the HOA of
Dobson
Ranch.
Right,
like, how do you just in a room with somebody that's over 300, 400 and something single family properties right here in AZREIA.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. For sure. Yes. Yeah. Perfect. So yes, I couldn't read the other questions, but, so any last words or words of wisdom you want to share with everybody as you're going to be the host on the next podcast?
Yeah. Besides coming to OSO, right now our next event is October 15th, 5:30 p.m. OSO Brewery, downtown Gilbert. Right. But just, come to me. I'm personable. If you see me at the monthly meetings, talk to me. I love to shake your hand. I love to talk with you. If you have any questions about real estate, throw them at me. If you're thinking about going out of state, talk to me because, I've done quite a bit out of state.
How do I get a hold of you?
You can reach me. You can call me 480-269-3502, or you can email me Maloney, so MMALONEY at equityri.com.
I always get messed. When I search your email in my email, I got to write equity. I don't know, it's annoying. Anyway, I can't do Marcus. I can't put. Anyways, TMI.
Yeah, or social media, MRCS Maloney, at Instagram, Facebook, all of that. So.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for all that you do, Marcus. Thank you for being here and always being a part of AZREIA, supporting our members. Definitely reach out to Marcus. So we're going to wrap that up. So if you're new to real estate investing and you're wanting to get started, we wrote an email series, the 12 essential steps to becoming a real estate investor. You'll get 12 emails in a row showing you exactly what you need to understand and do to get started in real estate investing. So that's on our website in the show notes, because I forgot the link. Yeah, I was with Molly and I was like, I need to, because she has the hyphen this, hyphen that. I'm like, I can't remember that, right? So anyways, it'll be in the show notes, 12 essential steps to becoming an investor. Thank you, Marcus, once again.
And don't forget, always go to AZREIA.org for all of your real estate needs. That's AZREIA.org.
Thanks for listening to the AZREIA Show with your hosts, Marcus Maloney and Mike Del Prete. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found this information valuable, head over to AZREIA.org and learn more about our community.